Tuesday, right? Yes, Tuesday. We made it to South Carolina. We are at a fuel stop pilot filling the reefer unit up, and they're not gonna unload us early. So we have to sit at the shipper until tomorrow morning. I think our appointment's at 10 o'clock in the morning, or I can't remember what time it is, but they have this this little, I'll show you in a minute. I'm walking up the stairs to go to it, but my mom collects old coins, and there's like this little, they're not called vending machines. Can't think of what they're called right now, but I'm gonna put 75 cents in. This thing right here is what I'm trying to say. They have old stuff in them. And look, along my travels, you guys know I love pink. I found this little Beanie Baby coin purse at one of the truck stops, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm actually gonna flip this over and sit you guys down because I can't get my 75 cents. Let's see. So Mom, I'm in the state that you were born in, and I'm buying you some change. I'm overspending. How do I get the other quarter in here? Okay. Oh, 2 quarters go on one side. Okay, gotcha. And I know you collect. This is a buffalo nickel. Cool. Okay. Here, let me show you. It's a I'm just dropping everything. I'm trying to see the year. I can't even see the year. But it's a buffalo nickel. Look at that. Ooh, cute. So Mom, don't say that I don't think about you. And I love you. I have not been calling my mom. You guys, I feel so horrible. I have not been calling my mom like I'm supposed to. Well, not like I'm supposed to, like I have to, but like I usually like check in and say, hey Mom, how's everything going? But it's been like a week and a half or something, maybe longer that I've talked to her. So I'm gonna call her today since I'm in her home state where she was born at, although she grew up for a little bit in North Carolina, but she was born in Charleston, South Carolina. So that made me think of her. And then when I saw the old coins, I really thought of her. But yeah. So I'm gonna probably check back in with you guys once we get parked at the shippers. I'm gonna see if I can do one of my pre-trip sections for you guys. I really want to get the in-cabin air brakes done because we are still hooked. I mean, we still have product on the back of in our trailer, so the reefer unit is still running. So I can't really do the other outside pre-trip parts because the noise. The same reason I couldn't do it yesterday. I'm not able to do it today because the reefer is still running. But tomorrow after we get unloaded, I think we'll have this same empty trailer. Then I'm gonna try to do them and get them out of the way before we get loaded somewhere or get a full trailer again while it's quiet. But I will talk to you guys in a little bit. I'll check in. And yeah, all right guys, bye. Guys, so I'm about to do the in-cab of the pre-trip. First thing you want to do when you get in your truck is you want to make sure that everything is like aligned to you, because keep in mind this is going to roll into you like doing the service brake check and everything. So you want to be sitting comfortably where you can press on all your pedals and everything like that. So okay, so first thing first is your seat belt is properly mounted and secure, no rips or tears in the belt, and that it adjusts and latches properly. Then you check your emergency, what's this thing called? Fire extinguisher. Your fire extinguisher is properly mounted and secure and is fully charged. The 3 red reflective triangles that you need to put out if you have to do an emergency stop are going to be under your bunk. So you just want to make sure that you're telling that to the examiner that my 3 emergency reflective triangles are under the bunk. I have my spare emergency fuses in the glove compartment, and just trust that they're there in the truck that you're training in. Then you go into your safe start, which you always want to make sure that your truck is in neutral. You turn, your testing truck probably won't have an alarm on it, but this one does. But You'll turn your auxiliary on.
You have 3 unread messages.
And you'll hear the sound.
Message has arrived.
What you're doing is you're making sure that the ABS light comes on and goes back off. Once you see the ABS light come on and go off, that means that your ABS system is working properly. So then you want to go ahead and start your engine. And keep in mind you're in neutral and your brakes are applied, so you're not going anywhere, and that's when you continue on with your end cab. And the next thing you want to do is you want to check your voltmeter, which is the level of where your alternator is charging. And to do that in a Freightliner, there's like on the steering wheel, there's a little plus and a minus. You click through it until you come to your volts, and it should be charging between 13 and 14 volts, and this one is at 14.0 volts, so it's a perfect read. And then next you want to check your water temperature gauge to make sure that it is in normal operating ranges or rising to normal operating ranges. Then you check your oil, that it's either rising or at normal operating ranges. We've been driving all day, so everything is kind of still warm and where it's supposed to be. But if you're just getting in the truck in the morning, you'll see it's low. So as you do your test, you want to just make sure that you're saying that it's rising to normal operating ranges is most likely the scenario that you'll be in. Taking the test, the next thing is you want to check your primary and your secondary air pressure gauges, that it is rising to the governor cut of 120 to 125 psi. Ours are already there again because we've been driving all day. After your gauges are checked, then you want to check your horns. So your city horn, your air horn. You want to check your high beams. You want to make sure that you point to the indicator that comes on your dash. You're checking your right turn signal is properly working, left turn signal is properly working, and then your four-way flashers are properly working. And make sure that you're pointing to them as you're doing it. Although it's very obvious, you do need to point to the examiner so he knows that you know what you're looking for. You want to check your windshield and mirrors, that they are properly mounted, secure. There's no cracks, bends, or breaks, that they're clean. Your mirrors are adjusted to you, properly adjusted to you. Then you check your windshield wipers, and you actually want to go through the motion of turning them on, checking your wipers. You want to get the water to squirt out of them. Your examiner is going to want to see that these things are working. And after you do that, you want to check your heater. So you actually turn the heater on. The way I learned it is to turn it on to the floor heater, and you like physically want to turn it on. You feel down there, it'll take a second before it starts blowing, but once you feel it, go ahead and let the examiner know that I feel the heater's working. Then you flip it to the defrost and you wait a second till you feel it actually coming through the defrost, and you let them know I feel the defrost working. I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? Oh, for your windshield wipers, you want to make sure that you say they're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, or broken, and that the actual wiper is not frayed or dry rotted. And I think I got all the parts. So then you go into your service brake test, where you are checking, like first I'll check my tractor brake. Since it's already pulled, we have the trailer brake in. So whichever brake that you're checking is the one you want to make sure it's pulled out, because that means like that the brake is actually applied at that moment. So you will put yourself in first gear, and all you want to do is gently come off of the clutch, and you'll feel like a little tug, and that'll let you know that your brake is working. So okay, and I don't know if you guys could see that in the camera shaking real quick, but that was me tugging against the brake, so I know that it's working. Now I'm going to push in my tractor brake, I'm going to release my trailer brake, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to tug to make sure. Okay, so that's working. Now I have both of my brakes applied, but really I want to check my service brake. So I'm releasing both of my, I'm pushing in both of my brakes. Sorry, releasing would mean that I'm going to stay still. So push in to go. And I'm going to pull forward just a little bit, and then I'm going to step on my service brake pedal down there to make sure that the truck doesn't tug to the left or the right, and that'll be letting me know that my brakes are working properly. So I'm just gently releasing the clutch. You don't even have to push on the accelerator. Sorry guys, I forgot to push the clutch in at first. But anyways, we didn't tug to the left or the right, so all is well. The brakes are working properly. So that would be the end of the in-cab portion of the test. Now is where you would go, like you want to kind of smoothly transition into your air brake test. So what you want to do, and the one thing that I was telling everybody to not forget, is to turn your engine off. Like at this point, you just tested all your brakes. Everything's fine. You want to leave yourself in first gear, and you want to make sure that you tell the examiner, I'm going to leave myself in gear, and you turn your truck off. There we go. Then to start your air brake test, you want to turn your, let me make sure we're not going to beep, but you want to turn your auxiliary on. So you just turn it halfway.
Red messages.
And that's so your gauges and everything work, but you're not actually gonna turn your engine on. Your engine needs to be off for this, okay? So what you want to do first is let the examiner know that I'm going to press on my service brake. And this is where I say that you want to make sure that your gauge is stabilized, because once you hit your brake pedal, you're going to notice that your gauges kind of move a little bit. So you don't want to immediately start your minute test to test your PSI until your gauge actually stabilizes. And make sure that you get all this talking out before you actually begin your test. Like explain to him everything that you're about to do, then start your test. So I'm going to tell him that I'm going to press my brake. I'm waiting for my gauges to stabilize. Once my gauges stabilize, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Examiner, if you can time me for a minute while I hold my service brake down. And what I'm doing during that minute is I want to make sure that the PSI in both my primary and secondary air tanks does not fall more than 4 PSI in a minute. And I'm also going to be listening for air leaks. So I'm pressing on my brake and see my PSI is dropping. And that's what I mean when I say wait for your gauge to stabilize. So the test hasn't actually started, but my foot is on the brake. And my little gauge thing, it did move a little bit. So now that it came to a stop, that's when I would tell, and I'm still holding on the brake. All this time you still have your foot on the brake. That's when you would ask your examiner, can you time me for a minute? So I'm going to sit here at 7:27. I might not give it a full minute. I'm going to just wait till my watch turns to 7:28, and then we will actually, it just did. So I'm going to wait till it turns to 7:29. But keep in mind that this whole time, my foot is pressing in. And if you need to use both feet, because like for us girls, a minute is a long time holding on the brake. So if you need to use both of your feet to hold on the brake, whatever you do, because if you release the brake before the minute is over, you'll fail. So make sure that you're able to depress, and it's not the easiest thing. Like in a minute, when I took my test, my legs were shaking after that minute. So just keep that in mind. And like my examiner said, if you need to, whatever you need to do to keep the brake down, just do it. Because if you start letting up, you can hear the brake, the air coming out of the brake. So your examiner is going to know if you start to lose your grip on the brake pedal. And so I'm just waiting till 7:29. And it's the longest minute ever. Believe that. And I think I kind of just heard myself depress the brake a little bit. But you definitely will hear it. So while you're taking the test, you'll know that, like, crap, I let go of the brake. Like, you'll be able to hear it. He'll be able to hear it. And that can cause you to fail. I mean, if he kind of is lenient on you and it was just a little bit of air escaping, he might let you go. But really, if you're not holding on to it, they're not supposed to pass you. So at 7:29, you can go ahead and let your foot off, rest your foot, and you will see that you didn't lose more than 4 PSI. So you'll make sure that you say, I didn't lose any more than 4 PSI in that minute. Then you go into your pump test, where you're pumping down to about 60 PSI. Like I like to say at or around 60 PSI. And that's when you will hear the like a buzzer go off, because it's the low pressure warning. And then you'll actually see a light come on your gauge that has like a little, depending on what type of truck, I think Freightliners, it actually says like brake or something like that. So talk that out with your examiner. Let them know that this is what I'm about to do before you actually start pumping. Okay, so I just explained all of that. Now I'm going to actually start pumping. And while I'm pumping, I'm watching. There's my lights and my the buzzer came on, and I'll let him know that I saw the light and the buzzer came on at or around 60 psi. Now the noise is going to be annoying, but you still have one more thing to do, and it's continuing to pump down till you get to about 40 to 20 psi. And at that point, there we go. Your two valves will pop out. Sometimes one valve will pop out and the other valve will stay in. So if they don't both pop together, you want to make sure that you continue to pump until they both pop out. If you stop your test and only one of them's popped out, you'll fail. So there you go. That's basically the in cab and the air brakes all